there, welcome to or welcome back to Tiff Reads Books, where I read books and I talk to you about them. It's time for a weekly wrap, and I'm kind of excited. I actually have a lot of things to talk about, so I have my laptop over here where I will have a story graph up. I'm just gonna log in real quick. I'm up to 128 books this year so far, which I'm pretty happy about. Okay, so let's scroll on back. What's today's the 29th, so we're gonna go back to the 22nd. All right. We have a lot of manga to talk about, so I'm gonna do that very briefly. Okay, so I have been reading the Attack on Titan series. If you're not familiar, where have you been? I honestly was kind of had a vague idea about it until 2 years ago when I started reading the manga, or last year. It feels like 2 years ago because it was January of 2024. Also feels like 500 years. But I first heard about this in 2014, I think my senior year of college. One of my classmates turned around and he was like, "Hey, have you watched Attack on Titan?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, damn it." And then he went to find someone else to talk to about it. So that is all I kind of knew about it at that point. But I started reading it. My nephew was really into it and wanted the manga for Christmas, so I got him a few, and then I was like, hey, you know what, maybe I'll read it so we have something to talk about. Now I'm way far ahead of him. So anyway, Attack on Titan follows this cast of characters who are in the military unit called the Survey Corps, and their job is to go out and survey for Titans and then keep them from entering the city. The city or country, kingdom consists of 3 concentric rings of walls, and these walls are supposed to keep out these Titans, and they are massive humanoid cannibals that they just like bust through the walls and eat people. But shortly after the beginning of the series, we discover that some of these Titans are abnormal and that they don't always eat people, and they seem to have a conscious and a motivation beyond food. So these Titans have, addition to that, special powers, and we start to unravel the mystery of these Titans and the government corruption and the interweaving with these Titans and the government, and secret experiments and all sorts of dark shit. We are kind of gotten to the point where we're dealing a bit with some heavy topics. So this is a dark series. It's listed as a YA series in a lot of places. My library has it in the YA section. It's definitely more of an advanced YA, like 16, 17, 18-year-olds or mature 14, 15-year-olds would probably be okay with it. I mean, thinking of things that I read, but knowing some of the like 12 and 13-year-olds that I know, I don't know. It really depends. Like, if you're going to give this to a kid, really know that they're okay with some dark topics and graphic depictions of injuries and wounds and violence. There's a lot of violence in here, and some implied, not SA specifically, but harassment of minors from adults. So yeah, there's some dark stuff. But I have finished a few volumes, so I don't want to tell you necessarily what, I can't really tell you what they're about because I'm so far in now. I finished volumes 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 this week. And I have started volume 18. So I'm pretty far. There's 34 volumes in this series, and I haven't watched the TV show, and I'd like to finish this and then watch the manga because I think that would be interesting. To do a comparison, because I've heard that it's a very faithful adaptation, and I'd really like to see that. I believe it's Elliot Brooks has a whole series on this one, I think, because I think she also has Full Metal Alchemist, which is one I've watched the series but not read the manga for. So I plan on watching reading this, watching this, and then watching her videos. I haven't watched them yet, but I've heard her talk briefly about them. I think she has them on one of her 2 channels. So I don't know how detailed hers are, but maybe check those out. So we're just learning more about corruption, and I had quite a few around the end of volume 15. I had some what the actual fuck kind of moments. So there is a Instagrammer that she was like, please talk to me whenever you need, and I probably am going to talk to her because I got to them kind of late. Like, I got it resolved kind of late last night. And I was like, it's too late for me to be messaging people, but dear God. Like, and there's apparently more to come with this. Some of the reveals. And I think the reason that this isn't like, I'm really enjoying this, but these aren't like 5-star mangas for me, is because the writing is like not quite there. There's a lot of jumps where you kind of really have to fill in what is happening a little bit more than I would tend to like. Not necessarily that it's like oh, you just didn't read it correctly. It's like wait, there was a big jump. There are certain times too where the new chapter within each volume will start and will be backward in time, and it takes me a second to clock on to it being a flashback. So it's a little rough in some areas, but otherwise it's really good. The drawing is a little rough as well, but I think that kind of makes the Titans look a little more freaky. But it's definitely something I'm really enjoying. I have like 10 more volumes that I think maybe it's only 7 more volumes, because I got 4 books. I've made my way through 1 3/4. Yeah, so I have 7 more volumes. My goal is to finish those in the next 2 days. They're due back at the library on the 2nd of October, so my goal is to finish these tonight and tomorrow. So as soon as I get back from some errands and get this edited a little bit, we're going to continue with that. So that's on my upcoming. I guess we're doing a little bit of a funny order here. Okay, so then let's talk about the other manga that I finished, because I did finish quite a few more manga. I am trying to do the 30 in 30 days. Here's where I'm at. It's not very far. So I'm at halfway. And you know what? 15 in a month I'm actually pretty happy with that. So if I don't make the full 30, we'll try it again when this comes back around in April, or maybe I'll try to do it again on my own when I feel like I have a month I can focus on it. I spread myself a little thin by picking up some arcs, and then I got overwhelmed and haven't read them. I've only listened to my audio arcs. So, we're doing great. We're doing great right now. Anyway, I had checked out some more manga from the library because it was the 30 manga in 30 days. So I decided to check out some stuff that was available currently through Libby and my library, and I got some interesting things. So I kind of picked a range of things that I would maybe find interesting and would be maybe compelling, and just had a description that I liked. So I picked 3 manga that I had never heard of. Well, actually one I've heard of, I think, briefly. Anyway, so the first one, I gave it a 3. It was okay. That's Vampeerz, Volume 1, My Peer Vampires. This was a sapphic, it was pitched, like the blurb was like sapphic vampires, essentially, and I was like, okay, say less, we'll see what it's about. This was very campy in a way that I felt was a little cringy, even for me and my millennial sensitivities. So, I was like, whoa, okay. So we're following this girl whose name I don't remember, and her grandmother has just passed away. They're having a funeral, and this other girl shows up. She's never seen before. She claims to be her cousin. She's kind of bouncing all over the place, and she's looking for something. And so our girl helps her find it, and it turns out she's looking for like a sacrificial knife because she wants to die. And it's the only knife that can kill her, is this ritual one. So she tries to get our main girl to do it, and she's like, no, she's too pretty. I can't. She's too pretty. And so then this girl gets woven into her life, and it was fine, but it's probably not a series I'll continue with. It was just too over the top, like, for me, in the whole, like, our girl was constantly in her head, like, oh my god, she's so cute. Oh my god, what she's doing is so adorable. And I was just like, girl, I get you. It's not for me. It was too much. It was way too much. But it was fine. I finished it very quickly. I did all of these in one night, which is why I know if I just sit down with Attack on Titan, girl, I can finish it. I just need to do it. Okay. Then I read a horror manga. I haven't really read a lot of like true horror ones, so I read this one called Gannibal, and this was apparently adapted into a TV show and then picked up by Hulu as well. So I don't know where you are on with Hulu at the moment, given everything. At the point that I am filming this, Disney has put Kimmel back on the air. So, but And Sinclair has also decided they are going to put Kimmel back on the air. So I don't know how you feel still about Hulu, but it is on there, and I may watch it. I think it'll freak me out. I may watch it though. So this is set in remote Japan, and it kind of picked up on some of the tropes that I'm used to seeing in maybe mid 2000s horror adjacent things. I'm thinking of a couple of shows specifically. It's actually, I want to be like, oh, it's behind me. It's not. It's upstairs on the shelf that would be behind me. Carnival has this, and it's the one that always sticks to my head. But we're dealing with kind of backwards hillbillies that may or may not be cannibals and partake in specific rituals, and they kind of are part of this one group of family members that lives in a town, and everyone kind of ignores and just lets them do their thing, and they've been there forever, and they may secretly run the town. We're kind of doing that, but in rural Japan, where we have our one police officer, and he comes to this town, and within a week or so of him being there, he gets asked to come up and see this murder, and they're like, oh, it was a bear. It was definitely a bear that did it. And he's like, oh, that kind of looks human. Those teeth marks don't look like bear. And they're like, bitch, have you ever seen a bear? And pull a fucking gun on him, right? So we're like in there right away, and I'm like, whoa, right, okay, we're getting into it. But they kind of befriend him, like at least one of the guys kind of befriends him, but then he starts looking into the disappearance of his predecessor and stumbles into some shit. So, really liked this. I think it was really well done in the way that the story progressed and the plot. It was clear and easy to follow. The story is really good. The art is really well done, and it was creepy, and there was an air of tension throughout that I have not found in a lot of graphic novels or manga yet, because I'm, to be fair, I'm not that advanced in reading graphic novels or manga where I can't be like, this one's really, really good, this one's not. But I think this one was really good, and I will probably try to finish out this series. I think it's a limited series, so it's only 2 seasons of the show, I believe. So this is probably something I'll go back to. I really liked this one. And then I read After God, which is interesting. This one was kind of in the middle of the other two. This was more fantasy with a little bit of some horror elements, and also a little campy at the same time. So if you like darker things with a kind of a light note to them, this one was maybe it. This was interesting. We're in, I believe, Tokyo, and these beings have appeared and have essentially made certain parts of Japan, the large cities, unlivable. So anyone who had the means to leave left, and the people who did not have the means to leave stayed. And most of them are struggling to survive. We don't necessarily focus on them, but that's the background of the story. Because what we learn is these beings are viewed as gods. That's what they just started calling them. And they cannot be seen by video, but in person, if you look at them in the eyes, you're like vaporized into like water vapor. Like, fascinating. I have no idea what the thing is for it, but we meet our researcher, and then we meet our main character, who is a teenage girl, and our researcher is immediately protective of her and is like, that is a child, and he like goes to bat for her being a child multiple times, and I was like, okay, good. But so she is trying to get revenge for her friend, and she has something kind of special about her that of course gets revealed. And then this whole research team gets revealed one by one, and things happen, and there is a fun little companion creature. It was an interesting blend, like I said, of dark and campy. Very, very gore-filled, but has that kind of campy element to it at the same time. So, in between the two. Last manga of the week, I read volume 4 of Hat Atelier, getting a little deeper into the lore of this world. We're continuing to follow our characters that I've already talked about in the other episodes, but I guess this is my weekly chats series. So I've talked about from the other volumes. Our main character, Coco, is a not born into the world of witches, but stumbles her way in. And she's learning to be a witch, and 2 of the girls that she's learning with are going through their second trial. There's these like 4 trials required to be a witch. And so we kind of go into this 4th trial, and the villains are villaining. They make an appearance, and it is one that's a little more, I think, has kind of more fast-paced plot elements to it than some of the other volumes I've read so far. My laptop is dying. It had like 60% battery when I opened it up. Okay. So, let's go. We're not going to go in order of what I read, but I did finish another series. So I finished, I am caught up. This series is still being produced. I am caught up now in the Wayward Children series. I read Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear by Seanan and McGuire. This is book 10 in the series. It follows Nadia, who we met in book 3. We met her in book 3. I had to figure out how far back we go. So we met her in book 3, and this is her story of how she became a drowned girl. And apparently every girl who goes to a water world is called a drowned girl. So fascinating little tidbit there for you. There's also drowned boys, but she's called a drowned girl. So she goes to this world where she gets to have a little turtle companion and be part of the turtle club. And I kind of enjoyed it. This one talks a lot about adoption. She's adopted, and maybe a little bit of, it doesn't go too deeply into it, but some of the emotional aspects that can result in trauma of that. And then she also has a disability. She was born without this part of her arm down, and she gets along just fine with it, but her adoptive parents believe that she needs a prosthesis and fit her for one without asking her. And this kind of goes into dealing with bodily autonomy and how important that is for children in their development. And she's also from Russia and adopted by Americans who adopted her through their church. And so they expect her to be a very specific type of girl in a very specific way. And a lot of it feels very performative. And so we discussed also that in the background very briefly, because this is a 4-hour audiobook. So these things are all kind of touched on in the way that each book in this series kind of touches on a little bit of a societal issue that it doesn't have the time to fully discuss and flesh out. So I liked it for that. I think it was a kind of, these last 4 books in the series for me were all 4s. I think they did a good job of continuing the series in a way that doesn't feel forced or like you're trying to make it last longer. It does feel like there is more to this world. Okay, 2 more things. So I finished Lute by Jennifer Thorne. This is the same author as Diavola, and I listened to that on audio too last year. I really liked this one. This one is very folk myth based. Yeah, folk myth. We're going with that. I don't know if that's a term. We're going with it. So, words. So we're following Nina. I was trying to remember her name. We're following Nina, and Nina is living on the island of Lute with her husband and her 2 small children. Every 7 years, this island has a very specific type of summer solstice called the day. And we don't learn a lot about the day until partway through the book as Nina learns about the day. We just kind of know that everyone's a little bit afraid of the day. And bad things happen to people on the day for very specific reasons. The other thing happening in the background of this book is a world war where America and Russia have teamed up against everyone else. And our girl Nina is a dual citizen. She has British citizenship, that was very hard to say, and American citizenship. And so that is kind of painting her worldview of this a little bit. She tends to think that people are just disregarding her as an American, instead of like treating her as if she's part of the island, but this is when she's going to actually become part of the island, is this whole thing. Does involve her children. There is no harm that comes to them. So if you're someone who can't handle that, but there's harm that comes to other children in backstories of the book. So if you're sensitive to harm done to children, this probably isn't the one for you. But our two main children who are existing as characters fully fleshed out in the book, no harm does come to them. So there's that. But I really liked it. I really liked the imagery. I really liked the story. I liked the resolution to the conflict. Wasn't so sure I liked the last chapter, but I liked the resolution to the conflict. I was like cheering for it. I was very happy about it. And then I think that brings me down to one last thing. Okay, we're finally there. One last thing. I've finished an arc of What Stalks the Deep by T. Kingfisher, which is the third book in the Sworn Soldier series. So I'll probably do a little bit longer video on this because I have some thoughts about the Sworn Soldier series in general. But I will say last year I asked, did this need to be a series? And you know what? I'm taking it back. It did need to be a series because I love these novella series. Like, I just love... Nevo has one, the Singing Hill Cycle, and they are so good. I just love a novella series. I finished The Wayward Children. I'm all caught up on that. And now I've got T. Kingfisher's What Stalks the Deep novella series. I just love a novella series. It feels... It's so nice to come back to a short little story about a character you know you liked, and you get something that is clear and tidy and wrapped up, and you may be able to see that character again. Maybe, if the series continues. But if the series doesn't continue, it's fine. So this one, our hero, Alex Easton, our reluctant hero, Alex Easton, is coming to the United States. And they go to West Virginia. And I got to sing Mountain Mama a lot because it is a requirement that if I hear someone say West Virginia, I have to sing Mountain Mama every time. I did it in the car a lot. But this is, okay, a cave in West Virginia. And yes, I sang it in my head. That was the pause. We are going there because our buddy, Dr. Denton, his cousin, has gone to investigate this cave that Denton inherited, and he is missing. And we are convinced something terrible happened to him. So we got our buddy Easton, who's had these terrible things happen before, and a new friend whose name I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I really liked, our Boston character. And I learned that Avi Roque cannot do a Boston accent, and that is okay. That is okay, but it was not a Boston accent. And it was funny every time Alex Easton was like, oh yeah, his accent came out really thick, and Avi Roque would say the line, I was like, did it? Like, which was kind of funny. But beyond that, I didn't mind. I was just kind of giggling over the accent because I was like, this is not your strong suit. The rest of the narration was really good. I think Avi Roque is a really good narrator. I really like the books that they do. This one was a Boston accent. Is not easy to do, I assume. I can't do accents at all, so there's literally no judgment from me on this. So anyway, Alex discovers what has happened on accident, as per usual. So we get a little monster story. We've got Angus is back. I love Angus. And yeah, it was just a good, creepy little horror novella. That was exactly what I needed. So that took me way longer to get through because I actually read a lot of things this week, which is always the benefit of the weeks that I don't read a lot of things, is these videos are nice and short. So you get a little bit of a longer one with some stuff that I read. And I'm a bit sleep deprived, so it went a little weird. Let me count up quickly what I read. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 manga, and 1, 2, 3 audiobooks. So a total of 12 things I read last week. You can put your opinions on me reading manga and audiobooks and counting them for my end of the year totals in the comments if you want. I don't care. I enjoyed this week. I did feel a little bit of guilt in that I only read like half a chapter of The Second Death of Locke, but I do plan on finishing that right away in October. I just apparently needed to take a break and read some manga and some audiobooks, and like I said, that's probably what I'll be doing. It's the 29th, so the next 2 days of the month, that is what I will be doing, is manga, finishing Attack on Titan, and I'm heading into the car. I have 3 options for audiobooks that I can listen to in the car. I need to go run to my parents' house and put my blanket on my horse because it is getting rainy out. So I don't want him to get cold overnight, and so I need to go put, well, on both of them actually. Anyway, so I have 3 audiobooks as the options. I have Near the Bone by Christina Henry. I have The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling, and my hold for Bewitching or Bewitched, I can't remember, by Silvia Moreno Garcia. So I have those 3 options. I will probably pick the shortest one, and we'll go from there. Yeah, I finished this. This is the other thing. I finished this cardigan. I did this week. So that's part of why I've been listening to audiobooks a lot, is I have been sucked into the crochet pit. That's all I've been wanting to do. So, yay, we're doing great. Things are being read. I have a fun video lined up that I need to film the intro for, which I will probably do in the next couple of days. I'm very excited for it. I get to do a fun little collaboration with Kyla from the Infinite Library. So keep your eye out for that. Hopefully it will be up soon. And thanks for hanging out with me. Give this a like if you liked it. Hit the subscribe if you want to see more from me. And I will see you on Friday with something completely different.